when you decide to be a good person, reason as much as you want to be good. Do not be ignorant of the fact that there are other things that will inform your decision of being good to a certain limit, to a certain level, to a certain capacity. Hello, Mirembe Mwesi, Mirembe Handi. Welcome to Nabure Chesa TV, where humility plus simplicity equals authenticity. My name is Mildred Chesa. I am a life, marriage, and relationship coach by experience and a broadcast journalist by profession. On today's topic, we're going to discuss about the thin line between being good and being ignorant. What is the thin line between being good and being ignorant? Many times, good people complain about not their goodness not being reciprocated. But the question is, are good people many times ignorant of some facts, and that leads to them being frustrated over their good nature? And sometimes we cannot blame them, because when you're naturally good, you always think of doing good to others, and you always think of what better to do every day. When you meet people, when you're around people, you're always thinking of good, better ways of being good to others, and you're always thinking of how to be of service to others. But one thing that good people forget is there is a thin line between being good and being ignorant. Being ignorant in terms of understanding that not everybody is like you. Not everybody thinks like you. Not everybody wants to do what you're doing. And not everybody is blessed with a good nature. Therefore, if you're a good person and you put that into consideration, that the people you meet are not the way you are, you will understand that being ignorant has no defense, because you are supposed to also do your own homework about people, understand them, and not only see things from your point of view, but also allow the other person to show you who they are, so that whatever you're doing, even if you decide to do good to them, to what capacity do they qualify your goodness? Because when you just treat people with blanket goodness, then you should not complain about them not reciprocating, because you are ignorant to the fact that they are not the same as you. They don't see things the same way as you do. They don't react to issues the same way as you do. Therefore, it is important for good people to realize that. Give people according to your capacity, to your limits, and to their capacity. Because there are people, when you exceed their capacity, they will take advantage of you. Because they are in their nature, they like taking advantage of others. And you cannot blame them, because you should have noticed that about them. So if you come back and start complaining that you're giving and giving and giving, and they're not reciprocating, and they want more and more and more. That is something you should have gauged and understood, that you should not be ignorant of the fact that their character is this and this and that, and therefore their limit is here. And the other ignorance about good people is the guilty nature they feel later when they say no. They feel like they have let the other person down. And that is being ignorant, because you are not putting yourself into consideration. You're not thinking about being good to yourself. You are giving other people 80% of yourself, or 90, and sometimes even 100. And you're giving yourself, if you're giving 80 to others, you're giving yourself 20. If you're giving 90, you're giving yourself 10. If you're giving 100, you're giving yourself nothing. And then when you start complaining, you complain because you expect them to see how much you're giving, but they are not like you. So you don't expect them to see things the way you see things. It is up to you as a good person to stop being ignorant of the facts that some people are naturally bad. Some people are naturally the ones to take advantage of what has been presented to them. And they will take, and never feel guilty about it. And you will give, but always complain about it. Therefore, it is important as a good person to also understand that ignorance has no defense. When you are good, you have to also sit down and understand your boundaries, your limits, and know that I am a good person, and in my nature, I always want to do good. I always feel like doing good. That is very good. But as a human being, you do not have the capacity to give everything and leave yourself out, because eventually it will come back to bite you, and it will frustrate you, and it will depress you, and you will start feeling bad about it. And that is why sometimes you see people say that the other people turn them into bad people. And that's the biggest lie. Because if you are good and you put limits and you stop being ignorant, nobody will you will turn you into a bad person. You will turn yourself into a responsible, good person. You will turn yourself into somebody who understands that there are boundaries, and as much as I am good, this is my limit. This is my capacity. And even when the guilt checks in, you will remind yourself that you're also a human being who deserves everything that comes to them, and also who deserves to have the boundaries so that you can also take care of yourself. You cannot meet somebody and you have, let's say you have 100 with you, and then you know very well there is something you need out of the money. Maybe you need like 50 out of the money. But then you go ahead and give the person 80. And then you cannot pick whatever you needed because you gave the person 80. And then you complain later, oh my God, now how will I get what I want? But you should have given that person 50 or even 40 so that they can go and look for the rest somewhere else. Because what good people forget is you can never fulfill everybody's needs to their capacity, or you can never please everyone or satisfy them. Because if you say you want to satisfy others, do you know to what length they will feel satisfied? And every day has its own challenges. You have to remember that. Even though you're good, you have to remember every day there are new challenges for you, for them, for the environment. Anything can bring challenges. So when you decide to be a good person, reason as much as you want to be good. Do not be ignorant of the fact that there are other things that will inform your decision of being good to a certain limit, to a certain level, to a certain capacity. Good people always turn to people pleasers. But the problem with that is once you become a people pleaser, you'll be very frustrated because everybody looks out for themselves. And because everybody looks out for themselves, when they find a weak link, they will use you. And once they are okay, they will move on. But by the time you're pleasing them, you want them to stay because of the things you're doing for them. And that is another problem with good people. They assume that whatever they are doing to others will keep them around, will make them stay, without understanding that there are people out here who are out to benefit themselves. And once their needs are met, that is all they needed from you. So that your giving will not make them stay. They will go, and when they need you again, they will come back. And when you see them come back, you will be glad, like, oh my God, they went, they decided that I'm a good person, and they felt guilty, and now they are back. No, they are back for more. And once you give them more, and you fulfill their needs again, once it's enough for them, they will go. And then you will remain there frustrated again. So it is important to be good, and do not allow bad people to turn you bad because of your ignorance. Not because they are bad, but because of your ignorance, and because you do not want to accept the fact that you are not God. God is in charge of all of us, but we are supposed to do His work to our capacity as human beings, not as Him. Therefore, it is important to understand that be good, but do not be ignorant. Learn to please people to your capacity because you're good. Your nature is good. You're surrounded by goodness. Your aura is good. So don't say bad people turned you bad. Just say your ignorance turned you bad because you are bad to yourself and good to other people. And it is important to note that fact, that there is a thin line between being good and being ignorant. And that is what many good people forget. So if you really want to be a good person, never stop being good. What you can do is learn to read people the right way. Learn to understand your limit, your boundaries. Learn to understand when you're becoming ignorant of facts, and rewind and come back and do better, because we need good people in our society. But if good people do not stop being ignorant of facts that surround us in the world, then we'll keep losing good people, and people will keep complaining that why are good people always facing issues instead of bad people. But it's because good people are allowing bad people to take advantage of them. And that's not the problem of bad people, it's the problem of good people, because they are being ignorant of facts that surround us as human beings, of facts that surround us in terms of boundaries, in terms of limits, and in terms of taking care of ourselves before we take care of everybody else. So if you're a good person, give yourself 80, give out 20, so that by the time you go back home, you can rejoice in your 80, and that other person will get the 20 and get another 20 from another good person until they get to 80. But don't put yourself out there to give all 80 and then you complain because you only have 20. It is not your duty to take care of everybody. It is your duty to take care of somebody while taking care of yourself. That was all for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Always remember to keep it simple. Remember to comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification button so that anytime we upload a video, you will be notified. Until next time, go Harry.